This is a story everyone tells about the Sacramento housing market in 2025. Rates came down, buyers came back, sellers felt hopeful again. But after spending the entire year inside the deals, watching what actually happened, not just what made the headlines, I realized something quietly unsettling. Most people are still using the 2021 mental model to make 2025 decisions. And that mismatch is costing them real money. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Lau, your friend in real estate here in Davis, California. If you're thinking about making a move anywhere in Davis, Woodland, or the Sacramento area, I'd love to be your realtor of choice. Okay, let's jump in. Here's the setup. Why did 2025 felt weird in Sacramento? If I had to sum up the Sacramento market in one word this year, it would be selective. Not slow, not hot, selective. Homes didn't stop selling. They stopped selling automatically. In 2021, you could be wrong on the price, wrong on the condition, wrong on timing, and still get bailed out by the demand. In 2025, the market stopped forgiving sellers' mistakes. And that's the part no one's really saying out loud. Buyers were active, just more cautious. Sellers were optimistic, but often anchored to old comps. And then agents who hadn't recalibrated were just confused. Here's the first lesson. Price wasn't the problem. Expectations were. Here's the uncomfortable truth I learned last year. Most overpriced homes in Sacramento weren't wildly overpriced. They were just 5 to 8% too optimistic. And that tiny 5 to 8%, that was all the difference between 3 days on the market immediately with a full price offer versus 45 days on the market sitting on silence. I watched it happen over and over again. A beautifully staged home in East Sac sits, a nearly identical one, priced just a little bit lower, gets swarmed. Same neighborhood, same week, same pool of buyers. The market wasn't rejecting homes. It was rejecting the seller's ego pricing. 2025 didn't punish sellers for being greedy. It punished them for being slightly unrealistic. Here's a second lesson. Buyers didn't care about rates as much as they claimed they did. Everyone said rates were the reason they were waiting, but when the right house hit the market, the buyers moved fast. What I learned this year is that Sacramento buyers didn't stop buying because of rates. They stopped buying because the value didn't feel obvious. When a home felt turnkey, fairly priced, emotionally easy to commit to, then rates suddenly become negotiable. But when a home felt like a project and a stretch, there's no amount of rate buy down in the world that can convince the buyers. This is where a lot of sellers misread the buyer's psychology. Buyers weren't saying, I can't afford this. They can't. They were saying, this home just doesn't feel worth it. And that distinction matters. The third lesson, the market splits, and it never really rejoined. Back in mid-2025, Sacramento wasn't one market anymore. It was kind of like three. You had move-in ready homes in desirable neighborhoods. They're still competitive. Your average homes, slower, more negotiated. And then there are the problem properties. They're quietly just stuck on the market. And here's the thing no one loves to admit. That middle category is where most sellers thought they were winning, but buyers were treating them like compromises. The day of it's fine, we'll figure it out are gone. 2025 taught me that Sacramento buyers want clarity. They want to know the clarity in pricing, clarity with the condition, clear reason why this home makes sense now, and if they have to mentally justify it, they walk. Okay, lesson 4 is the days on market started lying. This one surprised even me. I saw homes that were sold in 7 days, but only after a price correction. I saw homes that sold in 3 days, but only because they launched perfectly. Days on market stopped being a seller flex they became a lagging indicator. What mattered more were the qualitative measures, how many showings in the first weekend, whether the feedback shifted after day 10 or day 14, how quickly buyers stopped circling back. In 2025, momentum was everything. And once that was gone, it was hard to recreate. Here's my fifth lesson. Waiting until spring wasn't the advantage people thought. This one, I'm just gonna be blunt. A lot of sellers waited for better conditions, more buyers, lower rates, more optimism. But what actually happened? Well, more competition showed up too. Homes that listed earlier when inventory was less often did better than homes that waited for the perfect moment. 2025 reminded me that timing isn't about the calendar, it's about relative scarcity. The best window is rarely when everyone else feels comfortable. So here's the big takeaway that no one is really talking about. Here's what 2025 really taught me about the Sacramento housing market. It's no longer a market where being close is good enough. Close on the price is not good enough. Close on the condition isn't good enough. Close on strategy, value proposition is not close enough. This market rewards precision. And that's uncomfortable because precision requires the seller to have humility. It requires listening to the feedback, adjusting quickly, letting go of previous year's stories. The people who did that, they sold well, they bought confidently, they slept well at night. The people who didn't, they're still confused about why their house should have sold. If you're thinking about making a move in Sacramento, Davis, or Woodland, whether it's buying or selling, my biggest advice after living through 2025 is don't ask what did homes sell for last year. Instead, ask what feels undeniable to today's buyers. That's the game now. As always, my name is Danny Lau, your friend in real estate here in Davis, California. If you're thinking about making a move anywhere in Davis, Woodland, or Sacramento, I'd love to be your realtor of choice. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.